Alright guys, Happy New Year. We're finally in 2021. So finally, 2020 has been in the past. We finally dealt with it. Obviously, so much stuff has happened in 2020, as you guys know, with the pandemic and us having to be in this virtual environment, not being able to see each other in person. So definitely, it's been a crazy year, honestly, but hopefully 2021 can be a better year for all of us. We can focus on things that we want to accomplish this year and really just, try to get back to where we were and just be better as a community. So hopefully you guys all had a happy new year. Let me know how you guys celebrated your New Year's. I just stayed at home with my family. We watched the ball drop in New York, obviously on TV, and it was pretty dope. So definitely a nice little kind of refresher, a little bit of a restart for those that kind of like want to get back into things or start new things that they haven't been able to do before. Obviously, with COVID and everything happening, we have time to kind of take off and being able to do things that we haven't been able to do before. So definitely highly recommend people to start doing something that they haven't done before. And definitely I recommend you guys to start doing something you guys have never done before, something that may put you out of your comfort zone. But who knows, in the end, you guys may be liking it. Alright guys, so for the first video of 2021, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about my year in 2020, kind of what I went through, my experience with it, what I hope for in 2021. And also, as you guys can see by the title, I want to go a little bit of the behind the scenes of the short film, 2021, A Leap of Faith. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you guys haven't gone and seen that film, info card up there, or obviously link will be down in the description. Honestly, I worked super hard on that video, and again, huge shout out to both of my best friends, Krivy and Akil, for helping me out on the video, because again, if it wasn't for them, I would have not been able to make that video. So definitely a huge thanks goes out to them as well. But guys, before I get into my hopes and what I want to achieve in this upcoming year, 2021, I want to talk about the short film, 2021, A Leap of Faith. So again, I'm so thankful for all of those who decided to watch it. I believe it has like over 300 views, so definitely super thankful for everyone who's watched it. And I know I got a lot of positive feedback on it, and definitely so happy that I was able to make it. Since again, this film was shot very last minute. Like literally, it was like we literally shot it on December 21st and the 23rd and uploaded it on the 31st. But in order to do a true behind the scenes footage of what went down in the 2021 short film, I'm going to review the film with you guys. So right here, I got my laptop, and I'm going to be talking about all the scenes that happened in the 2021 short film. Maybe some things you guys might have catched onto, maybe some things that you guys didn't really notice, because I know some people were watching it and just told me like, hey, I loved the B-roll, I loved the shots that you got, but some people didn't really see the story in it, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, especially in this video. Alrighty, so I got my headphones right here, and we're about to hop into the video. So let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so pretty much that very first scene, the first 6 seconds of the film, you guys get to see the main character, the main protagonist, and the setting that he was in. So obviously we have the main protagonist to be Akil, and as I did say in the teaser trailer for this film, that this film is not necessarily about Akil. It's not necessarily about his personal life or stuff that he's personally dealing with. But if I had to describe his role is pretty much, if you were to take everyone's mind in 2020 of how we felt having to adapt to this new normal and put it into a person, that's kind of the role that Akil is playing. He's kind of portraying our feelings about the year of 2020. And pretty much to start it off, as you guys saw in the beginning clip, you see him laying in the grass in this forest environment, because the forest is supposed to represent isolation, of how we had to adapt to this new normal of being in this lockdown and having to adapt living in our house pretty much the entire day. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so I'll stop it right there at 13 seconds. But pretty much, as you guys saw, Akil kind of did like a little twitch with his eye, and after he twitched came like pretty much a whole entire vision of memories that he had in the previous year of 2019, and before the pandemic hit. So if you guys go very slow into that movement, pretty much, I'll try to go single frame here and there. So the first frame we see, let's see if I can get there. Alright, so the first frame we see is him running in the woods. and then it kind of masks into this transition of the car driving. And then we have like a little jingle of what he keeps on his visor in his car, just to give like a little bit of a remembrance. And if you guys have watched kind of towards the end of the video, so pretty much that jingle is there to represent 2 different times, which I'll get into a little bit later. So but for those who watch the entire film, you guys know that that jingle happened twice, and it was there for a reason. After that vision, he wakes up, and then I pan into his chest, and that's where we get to see the title of 2021. And after that, we slowly start to pan out of him looking at the edge of this cliff. And also, one thing you guys can notice by him looking at the edge of the cliff is that there's no one there. It's very isolated. So this isn't necessarily supposed to represent him in, before the pandemic hit. This is actually supposed to also represent him during this pandemic. So pretty much this second vision, so he has 2 visions in this film. He has one in the beginning. And the beginning part was pretty much his visions of what happened before the pandemic. And then the second visions that happened after the 2021 title popped up. So these are all visions of pretty much of what he wants for this year of 2021, what he wants to do this year pretty much. Here at 22 seconds, this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire short film that we shot, is at 22 seconds, where you guys can see this slow 120p footage of Akil looking towards the water. And guys, this shot of Akil looking towards the water is honestly probably one of my favorite shots in the film, besides some of the car shots that we got. But this one has a lot of meaning and a lot of representation. So what this represents is pretty much Akil looking towards the water, and the water is there to represent kind of like his memory of what happened in the previous year, and also memories of what he wants to happen this year as well. So pretty much the water is like a water bank. As you guys may have heard that term before, a water bank. So that's pretty much what the water represents in this movie, is to represent the memories that we've made and also some of our futures of what we want to do in the future. So it's a very interesting storyline from that perspective. And we have a nice close-up shot of the water to kind of get you guys to see what he's looking at. Alright guys, so at 33 seconds, we have a super nice shot of the drone kind of coming towards Akil. So again, this is purely just to represent Akil kind of revising his memory. So that's kind of like what the first minute of the film is. The very first minute of the film, if you guys have seen it, it is honestly kind of slow. It's not really very fast because there's a very strong message that I want to get out within that first minute. And then the second minute of the film is kind of like what the end goal or what the end desire is. And now we're going to get into the second part. So starting from 45 seconds, here we go. So at 104, I'm gonna take a little bit of a pause. So pretty much I want to talk about, what happened from 45 seconds to 1 minute and 4 seconds. So pretty much from 45 seconds, you kind of see it kind of like dying off, kind of like showing, this is the first act of the film. Now we're about to get into the second act of the film. So within the second act, we see Akil running towards the cliff. It's like him wanting to relive those memories, but also living new memories. So again, the water plays a very, very significant role within this film because it represents a lot of stuff that is very precious in our lives. And it also represents time. It just represents time of, what happened in the past and also what happens in the future, but also what happens in the present as well. And definitely the biggest part of this film is also within this small section is when you guys see him do that leap. So you guys kind of like see him running towards the cliff, and then as soon as he takes that leap, it kind of cuts to him running in the forest. So the original plan for this film was that Akil was actually going to jump into the water. And it's not something that I'm forcing him like, hey, jump into the water. It's because he actually does cliff jumping with his friends. It's something that he loves to do in his free times. It's kind of a hobby of his. So that's kind of like what the film was also going to represent, especially during the summer. But since we filmed it so late, we filmed it during the winter time. Obviously, I don't want him to get sick, and obviously he doesn't want to, catch hypothermia or whatever it is. So I decided to kind of call it quits there, and we just kind of cut to him running in the forest. So that way, he doesn't get sick and everything works out at the end. I'm going to pause it here at 1 minute and 19 seconds. So from 104 to 119, this is kind of like where the film really, really ramps up. This is like where we get to more of the action, more of the cool B-roll shots that you guys were telling me about. This is where a lot of those shots come into play. So after Akil's looking towards the sun, we come into a completely different scenario. So now we're kind of moving away from the water shots and the running shots. But now we're getting to this new location. So obviously the first few shots pretty much just show, you know, where this second shot is being filmed. So we have like a lot of hills, very, very sunny, very bright, and yeah, just kind of like a nice place to go drive your car. And then starting at 1 minute and 14 seconds, we kind of like see this whole clip of the car driving to like close-ups of the car driving, close-ups of the car, kind of just to get the viewer more excited to see what's gonna happen next. Right, so pretty much we're gonna start at 1 minute and 19 seconds, but pretty much here is where the whole climax starts. This is like the biggest part of the film. This is like where all the action comes into play. So all right, let's get into it. So this is obviously, again, to represent us wanting to get back out there, getting out to travel, explore new things, kind of just getting back outside and just, you know, getting back to the normal that we once had. Again, this one is one of my favorite shots here at 1 minute and 21 seconds. This one is one of my favorite shots of just seeing the car just passing by. This is something that I'm going to have to break down for you guys because this was by far one of the craziest shots that I've ever gotten in my filmmaking career. I don't think I've ever gotten a crazier shot than this, because pretty much what happened was that in order to get a lot of these front shots of the car, I had to sit in the trunk of a Tesla Model 3, which is Krivi's car, and have pretty much have the camera connected to a gimbal, and I was holding it in the trunk of a Tesla, pretty much sitting there getting these shots. And I'll have like a little bit of like a snippet of Akil recording me sitting in the trunk of the Tesla. Like honestly, I wish I vlogged it because that was definitely one of the craziest things that I've ever done just to get a certain shot. And obviously here we have that little jingle from Akil's little keychain on his visor. So this is also there to represent the vision in the past. So if you guys remember him having that vision in the past, it's supposed to represent saying that, hey, this is what I want my future to be. I want my future to get back in my car, to drive to places, to be able to explore and not really being restricted, to be able to be myself in my own surroundings is what that represents really. And then one of my favorite shots right here is Akil and Krivi kind of just doing this dab. It was honestly very, very awkward to film because just like a lot of stuff was happening in the process. And I was like, you know what, can you guys just like dab like one another? Like, can you guys just like get that shot? And they're like, wait, what? You want us to dab? It's like, okay. And I remember like they're just like dabbing like 10 different times, and they're like, did you get the shot yet? Did you get the shot yet? I'm like, dude, I haven't even pressed the record button yet. And they're like, oh, okay. But we got the shot, and I think it came out really, really good because this shot kind of also represents pretty much what the film is about as well. It represents us wanting to get back with friends, wanting to get out of this virtual setting and be back in person to see each other again and kind of just, you know, make better memories with our friends pretty much. So in 1 minute and 26 seconds, we see this little mask effect again from the tree. Now we get a little bit closer to his face, but now you can see that Akil is smiling. He's smiling because he knows that he wants 2021 to be a better year. He wants to move forward, not really have much regrets, and be in a much more positive mindset than we were in the previous year. So that's where we see him running. And then honestly, one of my best masking transitions that I've done is kind of like letting the car come into play, so you guys can see very, very slowly of the car coming into the shot, and then it just comes and pans around again. So again, another one of my favorite shots. I remember when I was taking these in the trunk of the Tesla with the gimbal, I was legit shouting like, yo, this looks like it came from a commercial. And honestly, it looked like it came from like a Ford commercial because the shots just came out so nice, and I was very, very thrilled of just how well it came out too. And honestly, I would not mind doing these shots again because they just came out so nice and they just look so good. And especially with the sound design, with pretty much you guys can also, like, especially if you're wearing headphones, you can hear the car moving from one side to the other. So obviously, if you guys want to appreciate the sound design, a lot of time went into working with the sound of this film. A lot of stuff happened. And then here we get to the infamous drone shot. This is probably, I felt very, very bad for Krivi. And I will say, when it comes to a lot of the car shots done with the drone, all of these shots were done by Krivi. Me and Krivi, we have the exact same drone. We both have the Mavic 2 Pro. An amazing drone. Obviously, it can do 4K 10-bit. So it's very, very sharp. But this shot right here was by far the weirdest but scariest shots that I think we have both ever seen in our lives. Purely just because we had the drone, I believe it was on ActiveTrack. So pretty much, if you guys don't know what ActiveTrack is, it's pretty much like an autopilot version for your drone to pretty much lock onto a subject, and it'll pretty much track it. And the active track was so weird because it was doing this whole 360 pan, even though Krivy did not mean for it to do a 360 pan, but it was going so fast that it was legit about to hit into like a light post. It was going so fast from like pretty much from our right side all the way to our left side. It was going so fast that we're like, dude, what is going on with this drone? So this shot was very risky because it could have easily crashed into something, and then there kind of just goes like a $2,000 drone. So I'm definitely happy that it worked out at the end and no one had to, break anything or no one had to risk anything. So I'm just glad that we came out of it with everything intact. And this shot of Akil at 1 minute and 37 seconds is kind of just there to represent that he wants to be free. He doesn't want to be restricted by the rules and regulations that we've been placed to with the pandemic. He wants to be himself. He wants to be his own person. So that's what this shot is there to represent. All right, so I'm going to start from 1 minute and 37 seconds. So let's go. Alrighty, man, just watching that film every single time, it just gets me. I just love that ending. That ending, it's honestly amazing. I think it came out really nice. So Akil running the forest and Akil driving his car pretty much represent the exact same meaning, wanting to go forward, no regrets, and wanting to live a better 2021. So I don't know if a lot of people picked what this ending meant. I know a lot of people were just like, oh, dope film. But I don't know if they really figured out what this ending shot represented. So we saw Akil in the beginning of the film, laying in the forest, and you guys can see that he was like twitching. He was just uncomfortable because it's a new experience. It's something that's completely new to him. He wasn't, used to being in isolation. He wasn't used to being separated from his friends and relatives. A completely different experience. After that whole journey of Akil kind of like finding himself within 2020 and wanting to move on into 2021, we kind of see his arms kind of putting into the side, kind of just adapting to this new normal. So that's what this shot really represents, is adapting to this new normal. And also it represents that we are not out of this pandemic just yet. Even though it's a new year, even though we want to have that restart, that refresh in our lives, we also have to realize that this pandemic is still here. Even though we have vaccines coming out, doesn't mean that it's been given to everyone. That doesn't mean we can stop wearing our masks and go back outside and not being 6 feet between other people outside. It still means that we're still within this pandemic. And I feel like the beginning and the end of this film is kind of like a parentheses, I would say. It's kind of like a beginning and a close because it represents the exact same thing. Pretty much the beginning was to represent him being a little bit uncomfortable, being a little bit, skeptic. Obviously he's twitching, he's kind of, doing his own thing. But at the end of the film, he slowly starts to adapt to this new normal and being like, you know what, I can do this, I can chill, I can adapt, Obviously everything's not fixed yet, but I know in the future everything will be fixed and we can finally get back to our normal lives. Alrighty guys, so that is pretty much behind the scenes of the 2021 short film. Let me know how you guys liked it, if you guys want me to continue making these things. Honestly, I'm planning to do these things like every single year, kind of just like a year-end video, a nice short cinematic film. Honestly, I love it a lot. I know you guys like it too, and I think it's a really cool tradition that I've slowly started to develop. Alrighty y'all, so that is going to do it for the very first video of 2021. I can't believe we're already in a new year. It still feels like we just got into the year of 2020 since that year pretty much went through very fast. But definitely, hopefully 2021 is going to be a better year for all of us. Hopefully, we can kind of reduce the spread of COVID-19, hopefully being ourselves, and yeah, just hoping for a better and brighter future. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And always, there's going to be better and new content coming out in the future. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.